Goes all the way underneath.
There we go. I'll put you with your brother. A while back I did a video on this exact model, the Panasonic SA-HT820V. It's a sort of home theater in a box, which were these packages sold in the 2000s that were a DVD player and a home theater receiver, and I'm using air quotes there because it was basically some low power speakers that gave you a 5.1 surround system. You know, pretty mediocre subwoofer. Some were decent, but most were kind of mid-tier, and then 5 speakers to give you surround built into your DVD player. This kind of does that. It's a 5-disc DVD player with a built-in VCR, but if I recall on the back, this doesn't actually have the amplifier built in. All that's built into the subwoofer. So you had a mating subwoofer that then powered the speakers and was sort of an expansion that plugged into this. Anyway, I don't care about any of that. The reason why I was so excited to bring this home is that it records in the very short-lived VP VHS speed, which, as far as I was able to tell, only came out in a select few Panasonic DVD VCR combo models. It was barely documented in the manual or anywhere, and it recorded at 1/5 SP speed. So SP was the standard speed. All or most pre-recorded movies you rented from a store were recorded in SP. The original VHS standard was SP. Then you had LP, which was half of that, and SLP or EP, which was a third of that. So then you have VP, which is a 1/5, and I just love the fact that it exists. And this came with a pile of other machines, and I couldn't resist bringing it home. As you can see, it might have problems. It says it will not power up, and if I pick it up and shake it, there's like rattling inside here. Let's see if I can... Yeah, stuff's moving around in there. So let's open it up. Huh. Okay. We have a Instagel strips. We've got, what is this? Makeup. And we've got whatever that is down there. I'm guessing there might have been a child in this household that maybe got a hold of some things and put them inside. That wouldn't really prevent it from powering up though, would it? Hold on, let me grab that. Okay, I flipped this upside down and gave it a shake to get this out, which is a Kiss Pink Gel Nail Glue, and a measuring spoon also came out, and an iPhone charger. Is this a legitimate one? It appears to be. Cool. The spoils. Now, let's plug it in and see what it does. Heard a little chirp from the pot. What? It powered on. Sort of. I mean, the fact that it has a random time on the clock is more than I was expecting. Let's put a tape in. Well, that's unhappy. So it pulled the tape out, so these guides moved, but the take-up reel did not move, which usually suggests a belt, because these modern machines will have a direct drive capstan motor and will often just run a belt off of that to handle the reel table here. I wonder why it said it won't. It said it won't power up, right? Will not power up, yeah. Oh. Oh. Well, in addition to the belt, he says as he touches a live power supply, the capacitors appear to have expunged their juices. So that'll definitely have to get dealt with. And it's a pretty common 2000s thing. This reminds me of the capacitor plague of the computers. Power supplies and motherboards in the mid-2000s, that was just everywhere. All right, let's pop this open. I think the other one that I have, I didn't need to do anything to it, just worked. This might be the first time I look at this mechanism underside. Although before I jump to conclusions that it is a belt issue, it very well might just be more stuff shoved in it. All right, front just clips off. It's got this connector here, as well as a ribbon cable that plugs in over here. There's some clips that just pivot and pull off the bottom. Yeah, there's that ribbon cable. And then just some clips that you unclip around the sides, the top. Pretty standard fare. Now to get this out. I'm hoping I can take this out without taking the board out, because that would be a pain in the butt. That came out really easy. Oh, there's the extra one. Bunch of different screw sizes, and it lifts right out of here. And the belt appears to be just fine, which makes sense. I think this was from around 2004, and belts will last a very long time. What's interesting is this CR2450 battery, which I guess was just supposed to last the life of the machine, and the life was not expected to be very long, because this is from an era of life expectancy of these not being very long. Like, this is the tail end of VHS, so this was expected to just last long enough to get you to the end of VHS. I don't think anyone involved with this machine expected it to be used in 2026. Well, since it's not the belt... Oh, what? Why does this feel all gummy? Feels like it's rubbing in there. Okay, anyway, mode switch. Let's open this up. Oh, well, that was stupid to get open. I actually prefer the Funai one. So this has got 3 little clips on the outside that hold it down, that bend very easily. And then there's also some clips. Let's see if I can get a zoom in of this. Some clips in the middle that you have to kind of pry from all outside and lift up directly, and it'll pop out. And look at this design. It's got little fingers. Oh, let me get my fingers out of the way. It's got little fingers that go and touch these pads. These don't slide around. They're just in a fixed position. And then there's ridges, like one of those Fisher-Price kids fake record players from the 80s or whenever, that pushed them down. So that's why it felt all weird and clunky when I was spinning it. It's these little ridges are pushing up against these fingers. What a weird, weird design. Okay, I guess I'll clean this and let's see if that fixes it. It just feels wrong. You know, just feels weird. You know, I was half expecting to find more food or makeup underneath this mechanism, and that would have been the problem. Okay, we're all back together. I do not like how that little green connector down there lines up and is all fiddly. Not sure if it's in there proper, but we're about to find out. Get power. Yeah, we got a display. Now, oh, just shut off on me. I may have to do the power supply before I do anything else. No, I don't even have a display now.
Or intensive insulin therapy. As you've just seen, all of these standards of care were either met during the office.
I do not have a display. Oh, front buttons work. There's no blue screen. Oh boy. Okay, let's work on the power supply. It's dying a horrible, horrible death. Yeah. Okay, to get the power supply out, looks like I can unmount it with some screws here, and there's probably one on the back. There is. And this is just attached there, and then I guess it probably attaches to the main board under there. So that means I'm going to have to take this top board out here. Really? So I got to take this whole back cover off to get at this screw holding this board in horizontally. That's dumb. Okay, power supply board is out, and there's at least 4 capacitors that need to be replaced, possibly more. Just because they don't visually appear bad doesn't mean they're good. And then this board that was on top here that I pulled out appears to be for the home theater interface. So there's this connector on the back, and this is what I was talking about, where there's this weird proprietary connector that goes off to the subwoofer that acts as an amplifier and handles all the audio stuff. But I think a lot of people just bought this by itself, just as a DVD VCR combo unit. I've only ever seen this for sale once as a whole package with the speakers and sub. So I've made a list of the capacitors that are for sure visually a problem, and then the capacitors of the same type or the same series. So there's 6 here in total, and these are these black ones. I'm going to just leave these blue ones for now. I'll test them out, pull these and test them, these little ones, but I'll probably just leave them if they test fine. But these 3 and these 3 are all going to get replaced. So I've got 3 1000 microfarad caps, a 100 microfarad, and a couple 680s. So to replace, I've got, and I'm running very low on stock, a single 1000 at 25 volts, a single 1000 at 35 volts, a whole bunch of 680s at 25, and a whole bunch of 100s at 63, which is a little higher than I need. I think this one is, 50. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And for the remaining 1000, I just pulled this off a scrap board. This, I think this is out of an old plasma TV or something. So I'll test this one to make sure it's good. First one is 680 microfarad at 16 volts, and it is measuring at 1700 picofarads. Off to a good start. So this is the other 680 microfarad cap, and this one tests just fine. This is the one that didn't leak, it didn't blow its top, but it's part of the same series as these other ones. So if I were fixing this up for someone else or fixing this up to sell, I would replace it. But since this is me, this is mine, I'm keeping it, I'm just going to put it back in and leave it. If it causes a problem in the future, I can always replace it. This 1000 microfarad tests at like 300. So let's see what my salvaged replacement tests at. Put that in. Much better. So I only ended up replacing 4. The ones that were visually bad were the ones that tested bad. This 680, this 100, and all these little guys tested fine. They actually tested perfectly fine. Good ESR, no loss or low loss, and right on target with what the value is expected to be. So I'm just going to leave it for now, test it out, and then if it works, it works. Moment of truth. Everything's back together. Let's see what it does. You hear a ringing, and it sounds like the capstan is scraping against something there. Okay. Oh! That's better than it was before. It's outputting DVD. That grinding sound might just be that the tape is eaten in that spot. Let's go to... How do you switch between the two? Input selector. Play.
Just seen, all of these standards of care were either met
there we go.
The office visits depicted in this videotape, or a provision was made.
Whoa. You know what? These buttons are all screwed up here. What is going on? Oh, it's flashing? I mean, it kind of sounds like the mode switch again.
Check the feed regularly.
It's interesting that it makes that just scraping sound only when I first hit play. So let's hit stop. Oh! It's when it changes modes.
Standards of care are unreal. But if the
Let's try fast forward. And it rewinds. Yeah, something's scraping inside there. I might have to take the mechanism out again. It is not happy. I'm hearing like surging. Stop. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at the capstan. Something's weird there. So when I hit fast forward, it rewound. Let's try that again. Oh, it's got some weird electronic gremlins. It's like a surging going on. Alright, so thinking about this scraping sound, I have taken the mechanism out again. I disconnected the belt going to the reel table, confirmed that it's not the reel table making that sound. But I can't visually see what would be scraping up against the capstan motor, and it's also only when it accelerates. So once the capstan is spinning, it's fine, but when it accelerates, it scrapes. And the best I can figure is that because this bearing that it sits on is so squishy, and it's got so much play, that when it accelerates, it actually twists this flywheel here, and it scrapes against the Hall effect sensor. Just bad design, I guess, or the tolerances are a little bit out. I might try playing with the alignment of this Hall effect sensor a little bit, see if I can move it out. But that can also cause other problems too, because now if I lose sensitivity, then this might go out of servo lock. So I might just live with it. It's kind of annoying, but this is from the era of cheap mechanisms. One neat thing, look at this.
Are designed to maximize our safety.
It's because I don't have the ground connected for the video head.
Some activities called for under these standards are performed before every flight. Others are performed less frequently.
Now for the flaky buttons on the front, I'm thinking they probably just need some contact cleaner. I've noticed, for example, the power button, if you sort of wail on it, it'll work. Stop is especially bad. And channel down doesn't even work at all. Always good to take the opportunity to clean the inside lens near the VFD. Like, look at the dirt that it picks up. Now I'll just do the same thing with the switches on the DVD side, and let's see if that made a difference. Well, that's better. The channel buttons are working.
Used to ensure that nothing.
Good. Other than the scraping sound from the capstan, which is actually kind of driving me nuts, that seems to have solved that issue. So I could desolder that Hall effect sensor to move it further back. The problem is you really don't want to use a hot soldering iron near the magnetic encoded signal on the outer rim of the capstan flywheel, on the rotor essentially, because you can ruin it. So I would have to take the whole dang thing apart to get and realign that sensor, and then of course I have to align it blind because I've now taken the flywheel out. So yeah, I think I've just convinced myself not to bother. Okay, I think this is working well enough for my purposes. Let's test out VP. Okay, now to tune in channels, I'm using a Harmony remote because I still don't have the original remote for this. One day I'll find one. So I need to find setup, I guess. There. VCR menu, it's probably that. Aha, there we go. Now, do the arrow buttons work? Oh, they do, excellent. We'll go to channel set. Antenna system, set to TV. Okay, I guess OK doesn't work. Is arrow? What if I hit menu? Okay. Now let's do auto. What I've realized, because I've seen other VCRs do this, where the video head drum will surge in speed up and down as you change channels, is that it is using the signal from the channel to lock the speed of the video head drum in.
Are we really waiting for Dad?
Is that fast? Nice. Okay. So I now have some channels I can test recording. Got my color bars.
Big old flies undone.
Like everything to me. I mean, if more kids cared, there'd be...
Alright, well let's try and record some Simpsons. Let's hit eject here. When you take the damn cover on and off so many times, you're bound to forget to do that. Okay, let's try that again. Ooh, it made an even weirder sound there. Okay. Now what's on this tape? Looks like nothing. Perfect. Now I'll have to go through this remote here. Here's VCR speed. VP. Let's go. And does the record button on the front work? Excellent. Nice and slow. I've done some playback recording and playback comparisons. I have a video showing VP by itself. It's an excerpt from the original video I did with this. I've also done a playback speed audio comparison here for the linear audio, and that one included a time-lapse VCR I have that will actually do continuous recording at speeds slower than VP. And that time-lapse VCR will actually limit the number of fields or frames that it records. So it will actually just not record some swipes as it moves slowly, but it moves in a linear fashion. It doesn't just step forward like you see a lot of time-lapse machines, so it actually records audio. Anyway, sounds horrible. It's kind of neat. This stuff fascinates me. So let's hit stop. And we will rewind. Oh, wait a second. I forgot to put the ground in. Haha. I love the noise. What if I connect the ground? Hey, there's less noise. Is that only on playback? Okay. I'm feeding it some test patterns, resolution test pattern, because I'm genuinely curious. I don't remember if I did like a resolution pattern with VP originally. I think I just did content off of TV. So this is going to be a direct feed from my DVD player, which is also a Panasonic, and we'll do a record, and then I'm going to do a direct playback from this machine to my capture, and let's see what it looks like. Actually, that wasn't that bad. The picture was pretty stable. I think last time I did some test recordings, it was quite jittery and all over the place, and that might have just been to do with my capture setup. I've since improved it vastly. I have a rudimentary TBC hooked up now, and I'm not using that crappy AV to HDMI, so I think it handled it better. Audio not quite as good, but that actually made me realize I haven't actually cleaned any of the transport of the heads in this yet. So maybe the test was a little premature, but that gives you an idea of what VP is. A perfectly cromulent speed, especially if you're using hi-fi and you just want a time shift. The speed stability, like the wow and flutter, was actually really solid for the audios. Obviously had a lot of noise riding on top, but I mean, still it's not bad. Funny enough, that TBC is a Panasonic DVD recorder. So, you know, I'm just tying the whole thing together here. Panasonic DVD player, playing a DVD, being recorded onto a Panasonic combo home theater unit, and then Playback being stabilized on a Panasonic DVD recorder. And the amount of remotes that I had to go through to do this test. So I have my Harmony remote, which handles some stuff on this. I had the 820 programmed into it, and it was missing some core features. There's an audio button on the original remote that will both handle audio for the DVD player and the VCR. That wasn't present in the codes on this. And the audio button on the DVD player remote would not do the VCR function. And then I grabbed a Panasonic VCR remote, and the SAP Hi-Fi button wouldn't work properly, although the pause and speed buttons worked on this one. So I was using this for pause and speed for quick access. So then what I did is I started trying other Panasonic models, and I ended up putting in the SA-HT820V, which has VCR audio. So yeah, it was a bit of an ordeal getting the test recordings done without the original remote. I did end up looking through all the local listings and eBay as well to see maybe there's a original remote for this. It would be convenient because I actually do like this machine and the other one that I have, and both of them don't have a remote. But none of the eBay listings do either. There's one for sale locally. It doesn't have the proper remote. It does have a remote. There is several on eBay. None of them have the remote. I think I saw one for an ended auction listing that did have the correct remote. But for some reason, all of these don't have the remote. People just lost for this one model. Everyone just looked at the remote and went, screw it. Toss it. Who cares? Yes, I'm wearing festive pajama pants. Yes, it's the middle of March. No, I don't care. So the only thing left to look at before I finally get to do my real testing that I wanted to do with this and its sibling is the DVD changer, which just made a noise and completely locked up earlier until I put a tape in the VCR, and now it's stuck on the VCR mode. So I'm thinking that this input selector button doesn't work. I did hose out the buttons over here on the DVD side, but this one kind of gets jammed and doesn't seem to do anything. Actually, none of these buttons seem to do anything except power. So that tells me that the connector is connected. Okay, it's making sounds. I'm thinking that there's a belt inside this that's perished and it's just faulting out. But let me pop this out and let's take a quick look, because it would be nice to have the DVD changer on this working. What a stupid design. So there's one screw here that holds this little bracket that holds the front down. And then there's a screw on the back right here that you can't see because it's too dark, but trust me, there's a screw there. And then there's this hole here, and I verified on the bottom of the machine that there's a screw. But this mechanism is blocking it. And I presume you have to unload the disc, eject it to get at that. But I can't, because whatever is inside is jammed or perished. Easy. There we go. I'll put you with your brother. Got it out. I was able to just sort of bend this plastic arm enough to get my screwdriver down there. And looking at this, it's jammed. It looks like it might be direct drive, but it does feel a little jammed. So from what I can tell, this arm here, when it pivots, it lifts this top piece here up. So let's see if I pivot this here. It pushes this way. Let's see if I can get it to go. See, it kind of lifts that. And at the same time, when this arm pulls back, it tries to drop the spindle motor and laser assembly. And if you take a look, this corner here is stuck for some reason. I found a service manual with really blurry photos, and look, there is a belt. This is the UD belt. Unload, I guess. Deep in the bowels of this absolute chaotic mechanism. Now that I have some unearned self-confidence with the service manual, I'm going to try taking this damn thing apart. I already removed the circuit board on the bottom, thinking maybe I could get to things from underneath it. And I even had to desolder this motor. So I think I'm going to put that back in, because clearly that's not the way you're supposed to access it. You're supposed to take this entire fucking thing apart, apparently. Man, this blurry image sure is useful. Turn the unit over. Lever of the UD rack. Right. Locked here. Note. Not this. The hell am I looking at here? Somewhere in here, am I supposed to? I think whatever it is that photo is showing is not visible here because this is all the way in the down position. Okay, this is wild. This top cover piece here has a little gear. And apparently this is a tool for working on this mechanism. As shown here, you just cut these off, take this gear off the top cover, and then you attach the gear to a hexagonal wrench, and the preparation of gear as a jig is complete. Jig is completed. Step 1, move the select rack to the advanced corner. Just rotate this until this black plastic piece is at the front. This one I don't understand at all, so I'm going to assume that I've done it correctly. This one I've already done. I've already removed the top cover. Okay, this next one wants me to remove the open switch lever. So it wants me to use a minus screwdriver. It's an interesting name for a flathead. And pull the open switch lever with the minus screwdriver. Just sort of give that a bit of a pry, which, like that. That is a fiddly operation because there's a little arm on the bottom of it there. Release the claw and then remove the speed up lock. The claw. Man, am I ever going to get this back together after all this crap? So it's down here in between all the trays. So here it is in the mechanism. So I'm guessing this little clip here is the claw. And then this guy here is what they want me to sort of turn and twist. Oh yeah, that's exactly it. This thing is flexible here, so this hooks underneath this arm, and then this is just a standard clip, and then this should come up. Actually, you can just lift this straight up and kind of wiggle it, and it just comes out easy. I just want to say that without the service manual, there is no chance in hell that I would be able to take this thing apart. Nor do I think anyone out there without intimate knowledge of this mechanism would be able to take this apart. You know what? I don't think this is going to work with this tray stuck back here. I think this service manual assumes that everything is okay. But since this tray is stuck on the back here, I need to figure out a way to move it forward in order to pull all these out. Because these, I think the advanced corner meant to align this front piece here with the front. I had it too far forward. But I realized that it's wanting me to take this entire assembly of these trays out, which means this needs to be in the forward position. I gave up. It's this one. This one is just kind of, I think, I don't want to say beyond repair, but as soon as I ran into the problem where the service manual expects all the trays to be moved forward, but it's completely jammed in place and I couldn't figure out how to disengage whatever gear is holding the tray back, then I'm like, well, there's a good chance I'm going to break it. And I really don't care that much about the 5-disc changer, especially since I have a working one here. It's more the VCR mechanism with VP that I care about. I have linked the service manual in the description. It's on that Electro Tanya website, just in case anyone runs into this and maybe wants to take a swing at it. But now, the reason why I grabbed 2 of them, I want to do a recording generation test between these. you know, first generation dubs, second generation, third, etc. I'm going to do a baseline with SP, and then I'm going to compare that to how quickly it degrades on VP. So it'll be sort of like a back and forth, not forever, and until it's unwatchable or the capture card can't sync to it anymore. So let's see how that goes.
All right, here we are with the first generation. I'm just getting some footage here that we can look at. And now we're going to switch to second generation. I actually have no idea what to expect. I don't know if the color is going to drop or it's going to start jittering. The audio is probably atrocious because I'm not going to be doing this with hi-fi. And on that note, let's move on to the third generation. Get a close-up of the mechanism here in generation 3. Maybe get some color. We got a green circuit board and some red painted windings on the motor. We can zoom in on the blue capacitors. I don't even know if you're seeing color. All right, generation 4. Here's some more color. The VP recording indicator, sort of a light blue clock, and very muddy colors for the VHS text and the AV text. Got a nice yellow warning label. On to generation 5. If you can still hear me, congratulations, that's very impressive. Yeah, more looking at the mechanism. Interestingly, this light stalk just goes all the way underneath to the bottom of the mechanism and then pushes up against the LED. Compared to some other machines I've worked on where the light stalk just sort of pushes through a hole. Can't remember which manufacturer that was, but that was absolutely horrid. This is a nicer way of doing it. Okay, I don't know if we still have anything left, but generation 6, let's go. At this point, I assume everything's black and white and probably pretty muddy. Let's zoom in on some text here. VEQV0002, Rev A, 4226NA, any of that means. More writing, upside down. PDF, it is a lead-free board, which is to be expected from 2004. Okay, I think that's probably enough. I think by this point it's completely unwatchable.
Well, that was delightfully awful, wasn't it? It's interesting how much yellowing occurs in the recording. Especially SP started out to yellow more than VP, it looks like. Both maintained color, both maintained audio, both maintained sync and stability. There was some chewing of the tapes, unfortunately. I just used a set of pretty bog standard Fuji tapes for this test, so nothing special. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to do with these. Thank you for watching.